A specter is haunting our planet, a silent and creeping crisis that is reshaping landscapes and threatening the future of civilization. This is the phenomenon of megadrying, a global-scale process of aridification where dry regions are expanding and, in some cases, merging into vast, sterile expanses. This isn't a story about distant deserts. It's a narrative of encroaching dryness knocking on the doors of billions, threatening their water, their food, and their very way of life. The statistics are stark. Drylands already cover about 41% of the Earth's land surface, home to over 2.7 billion people, and these zones are expanding. The United Nations reports that every year, an area of productive land roughly the size of Egypt is degraded. The economic toll is staggering, costing the global economy anywhere from $6 to $15 trillion annually. This isn't just a natural cycle. It's a feedback loop where human activities worsen climate change, which in turn accelerates this desertification. Today, we're delving into the heart of this unfolding crisis. We'll explore the science behind megadrying, witness how arid regions are merging across the globe, and uncover the profound consequences for all of us. First, let's understand the science. At its core, megadrying is a process of aridification. This is different from a drought. A drought is a temporary period of low rainfall. Aridification is a permanent shift in a region's climate, a transition to a drier baseline. The primary driver is unequivocally climate change. As we pump more greenhouse gases into the atmosphere, global temperatures rise. Warmer air is thirstier. It has a greater capacity to hold water vapor, so it pulls moisture from the land and water through evaporation. This dries out soils, stresses plants, and reduces the flow of rivers, while a warmer atmosphere can hold more moisture, leading to more rain in some places. The overall effect for many subtropical regions is a net drying. Human activities also pour fuel on the fire. Deforestation, overgrazing, and unsustainable farming all degrade the soil, reducing its ability to hold water. This creates a vicious cycle. Degraded land releases carbon stored in the soil, which further contributes to climate change and even more aridification. One of the most alarming aspects of this crisis is how arid zones are beginning to merge, creating new, massive corridors of dryness. The most prominent example is the potential formation of a transcontinental arid belt stretching from North Africa, across the Middle East, and into Central Asia. Imagine a super desert. The Sahara, the world's largest hot desert, is expanding southward into the Sahel, a fragile, semi-arid region. For the millions of people who depend on the Sahel, the consequences are dire. To the east, the deserts of the Arabian Peninsula are expanding, and aridification is intensifying across the Middle East. And in Central Asia, unsustainable water management has led to one of the most shocking examples of man-made desertification: the shrinking of the Aral Sea and the creation of the brand-new Aralkum Desert. This merging could disrupt weather patterns, create massive dust storms that travel continents, and form an impassable barrier for people and wildlife. North America is seeing a similar process. The arid regions of the American Southwest are expanding eastward. Scientists have documented a clear long-term trend towards greater aridity in the western U.S., marked by declining river flows, drier soils, and an increase in catastrophic wildfires. The mega-drought that has gripped the southwestern U.S. and northern Mexico for the past 2 decades is the most extreme in at least 200 years. It's no surprise that water reservoirs are dwindling and agricultural systems are stressed. South America is also facing a significant drying trend. Projections show increasing aridity across much of the continent, with the Amazon of all places being particularly vulnerable. Deforestation and climate change are pushing parts of the Amazon rainforest towards a tipping point where it could transform into a drier, savanna-like ecosystem. The loss of the lungs of the planet would be catastrophic for global biodiversity and climate regulation. Meanwhile, Chile is in the grip of a megadrought that has lasted for over a decade, the longest in a millennium, causing severe water shortages. And Australia, already the driest inhabited continent, is getting even drier. The continent's vast interior deserts are projected to expand as climate change reduces rainfall, particularly in the south. The Australian Millennium Drought from 2001 to 2009 was a stark reminder of the continent's vulnerability, with widespread impacts on agriculture, water supplies, and ecosystems. The consequences of this mega drying are not just geographical. They are profound and far-reaching. For the billions of people in drylands, it's an existential threat. Land degradation leads directly to loss of agricultural productivity, undermining food security and pushing people into poverty. As livelihoods are destroyed, many are forced to migrate. This climate migration can lead to overcrowding in cities and spark conflict over resources. Some projections suggest hundreds of millions could be displaced by mid-century. The competition for dwindling water and grazing land is a major driver of conflict, particularly in regions like the Sahel, where tensions between pastoralists and farmers are being inflamed by desertification. The economic catastrophe is immense. Beyond the direct agricultural losses are the costs of disaster relief, infrastructure damage from sandstorms, and the long-term economic drain of water scarcity. The annual cost, in the trillions of dollars, far exceeds the investment needed to prevent and reverse land degradation. And then there's the environmental devastation. As habitats shrink and degrade, countless plant and animal species are pushed towards extinction. The loss of vegetation leads to soil erosion, which releases more carbon and can even alter local climates, sometimes creating feedback loops where dust from degraded landscapes suppresses rainfall in downwind areas, making things even worse. Despite this grim outlook, the fight against megadrying is not a lost cause. Efforts are underway across the globe. One of the most ambitious is the Great Green Wall of Africa. Launched in 2007, this monumental project aims to restore 100 million hectares of degraded land across the Sahel. The vision has evolved from simply planting a wall of trees to an integrated approach, including water harvesting, protecting existing vegetation, and promoting sustainable land use. Progress has been slower than hoped, but the project has already brought significant benefits, creating jobs and improving food security. In Senegal, over 18 million drought-resistant trees have been planted. In Ethiopia, millions of hectares of land have been reclaimed. The Great Green Wall is a powerful symbol of hope and collective action. On the global stage, the UN Convention to Combat Desertification is coordinating efforts between countries. And at the national level, many countries are implementing their own programs. China's Great Green Wall project, started in 1978, has had success in stabilizing sand dunes. India has launched a national mission for a Green India, focused on afforestation. But real success often hinges on local communities. Across the globe, farmers and indigenous groups are reviving traditional land management practices and adopting new techniques. In Niger, a low-cost method called farmer-managed natural regeneration has helped restore millions of hectares. In the Galapagos, scientists are using water-saving cocoons to help plants survive in restoration projects. These examples show the power of combining scientific knowledge with local expertise. The mega-drying of our planet is a slow-motion catastrophe, but one we can still fight. The path forward requires two things. First, we must aggressively reduce greenhouse gas emissions to slow climate change, the root cause of the problem. Second, we must double down on our efforts to restore the health of our planet's drylands by investing in large-scale projects, supporting community-led initiatives, and promoting sustainable land management. This isn't just about economics. It's about our shared responsibility to protect the planet for future generations. The challenge transcends borders and ideologies. It's a test of our collective will and our ability to work together. The future of our arid lands, and indeed the future of our planet, hangs in the balance.